In this video, I'm teaching you guys how to take pro-level macro shots using the Xiaomi Mi 11. We're going to be using the Tele-Macro lens on this, which is the same one on the Redmi Note 10 series. So if you have the Redmi Note 10, keep watching the video. And without wasting any more time, let's get started. So about a year ago, I made a video on how you can take pro-level macro shots on any smartphone using an external accessory. But because with these phones, you have a built-in Tele-Macro lens, you don't need anything external, just the camera app. So before we even get to actually taking the pictures, step number one is to go into your camera app and change the mode to Pro mode. Once you're in the Pro mode, change your lens from the wide lens to the macro lens, and that's what we're going to be using for all of the pictures taken here. Put the ISO at the lowest setting possible and you'll get the best quality shots. Step number two is looking for the correct macro subject. I usually shoot outdoors because there's so many different things to look at, and I like to photograph things that people usually don't pay attention to. So that's close-up of textures. That could be wood, that could be plants, that could be the floor, anything with a lot of texture. I love photographing. So this cut up stuff of wood, for example, you can see the little splinters in the tree, and that's what I photographed using the macro lens, and the quality is really great even at 5 megapixels. Second, you can find these little wood branches with their fungi and stuff growing on it, and I took a picture of this close up as well, and you get really nice results with really shallow depth of field because the macro is a Tele-Macro lens, and it gives you great subject isolation. So apart from the phone, something I always bring with me for external macro shoots is an external light. So this light is very important because when you're so close to the subject, it becomes pretty dark, and using the built-in flash is not a good option because the light is very harsh. So we want softer light. For that, I use this external light. This is from Ulanzi. I'm going to link it in the description. And it's really great to light up your subject, create different shadows. I talked about this in the previous video as well. And in this one, we're using this really tiny light that can be taken anywhere you go. So taking a picture of this mushroom, for example, the reason I use the external light is to create different shadows and control how the light is hitting it. Here's a regular shot of the mushrooms, and then here's the macro shot of the mushrooms. You can see how I really controlled the light and made these shadows underneath. And here's an example of the light turned off on the left and the light turned on the right. You can clearly see having more light results in a much better picture with much better details and quality. Not just that, you can really use the light to enhance your photography and create different shadows and textures by just manipulating it and moving it around. So for example, here we create all these different shadows and textures in this leaf, and it looks really nice because of the way the shadow is cast. Another really creative thing you can do is put the leaf on top of the light to have it go through the leaf itself. You can capture so many cool, interesting details and textures, and this always looks very unique because each leaf has its very own pattern, and it looks really great. Lastly, my favorite subjects to take pictures of are bugs. Growing up, I always wanted to take pictures for National Geographic at some point, so I really do enjoy taking these pictures because it can be very difficult to photograph them, getting the timing right, but the result that you get at the end of it can be very satisfying. Here's a picture I took of the ladybug hiding in a little gap in the tree. The second we have is a jumping spider on a rock. I was very lucky to capture this because they move around very quickly. This is a challenge you get with macro photography, especially the timing. For example, a bee sitting on a flower, capturing a spider at the corner of the room before it jumped off, or even capturing my bird before it flies away. So capturing macro can be a lot of fun. You don't have to be extremely close to the subject. For example, taking a picture of your eye can be made very interesting, and I do love photographing the eye as well because you can get so much texture and detail out of it. As a photographer, I really love the fact that I can reach out for my phone even before my professional gear because of how Xiaomi has innovated with their Redmi Note 10 series and the Mi 11 4D macro lens. Really happy with this. So those are some of my tips on taking pro-level macro shots using the Mi 11 or the Redmi Note 10. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you again in the next video.